Page 5 now, Ebola care. Here's the latest. In North Carolina, 5 Americans are now under observation. They just returned from West Africa. So far, none has shown symptoms of the deadly disease. Meantime, in Spain, a nurse's aide, the first person known to have contracted the virus outside of Africa, has been released from a hospital in Madrid. Doctors say a new treatment aided in her recovery.
We are learning about experimental therapies. In our patient, we have used hyperimmune serum, and we have used an antiviral called favipiravir. So we don't have a control group. It's fair to say that we don't know if these therapies are efficacious or not, but we have other methods to try to analyze if these medications can be a hope for other patients in the future.
Now, back in this country, we continue to dodge the Ebola bullet. Hundreds of people from West Africa are coming into this country each month, yet somehow only a few isolated cases so far. So, is the White House response to the Ebola crisis working? And how come we are not hearing from the so-called Ebola czar? Remember that guy? Joining me now, wellness expert Brian Ullman, Ph.D. Brian, so lately we have seen in West Africa, in particular, I believe Liberia, there's been a drop in the number of diagnosed cases of Ebola. Do you think that, in your opinion, that's just a seasonal thing? Is it the way the disease runs its course? Or do you think it's because of maybe better practices, health practices that are going on in West Africa?
Yeah, well, the same thing, Graham, I think that happened with AIDS. First, there was a denial, then there was a panic, and then a more realistic approach. So they're actually quarantining there and getting more healthcare people there. Doctors and nurses are still going there to help. And it looks like they're starting to get a grip. We even know there's a vaccine coming out. People are all of a sudden really jumping on the bandwagon. We can't let this get like AIDS was.
Now, in West Africa, the mortality rate of Ebola is 70. That's 70% is huge. In this country, we've seen those few isolated cases, and all of those cases, all of those Americans who have contracted Ebola, either on this continent or in West Africa, they have recovered. That's no coincidence, is it?
No, I mean, that's great news. You know, they're jumping right on it. They're trying to keep people away from the disease. And when they get it, they're trying to manage it better. I still think there's a lot of work to be done because it is scary, because it doesn't know any boundaries, just any kind of bodily connection. And next thing you know, you get it. I was talking with a doctor today who got back from Germany, and he said they can wear the hazmat suits, but if they just touch a person's skin in any way, it's very likely they're going to get it.
So are we correct in this country to feel a little bit stressed and to change our habits because of Ebola? For example, I'm not joking you. I do the Ebola bump now. I think I invented that with my friends instead of shaking hands sometimes, just as, you know, a course of extra precaution. Am I crazy to do something like that?
No, I'm laughing because I'm just laughing at ourselves because it's true. No, it is a dangerous virus, and it's very intelligent to be scared. Anybody would be. Everybody should be. And after we let ourselves be scared, like you just said, Graham, then you have to be honest and be judgmental towards the government, towards letting people come in this country that may have been exposed, not quarantine them. It's important to be judgmental also, as well as scared. And then, like you said, get to a more realistic, self-protective, hygienic approach to make sure that as few people get it as possible. I think you're on the right track.
So are we through the looking glass here? Have we dodged the bullet? Is it over, or are we still very much possibly exposed to Ebola, given the fact that I think 150 folks from West Africa are coming into this country every day, and we're relying on just possibly catching them at the airport with a fever, and we know there's at least a 21-day incubation period for Ebola. Some are saying it's double that, 42. So are we handling this thing correctly by allowing these people to come into this country, in your opinion?
We are in the heat of the battle. There is no way we're through it. That is totally unrealistic. That's going back to the first reactions, denial, hide your head in the sand, it's no big deal. Then all of a sudden, you saw what happened. There's billions of dollars going into it as of just recently, hours ago. No, we are in the heat of battle. This is a very serious challenge globally, and we have to get to the people there. We have to protect ourselves here. This is a big deal.
So the Nurses Association from coast to coast is up in arms, and we're hearing from them piecemeal here and there. But they're, nurses really go about their business, and they do a great job, and they really don't raise a ruckus. They just help people and they save people, right? But lately we've been hearing a little bit from them, the nurses and the Nurses Association, saying, hey, listen, you're telling us to follow protocol from the CDC, but the CDC is not giving us protocol, and even if there is protocol to follow, we don't have the equipment to use that you're telling us to use.
Exactly. It's such a challenge. I mean, the nurses are also scared to death. I mean, they want to protect themselves. They do want to make a difference in Africa and help people there. But when people come back, they want to make sure they're quarantined. I mean, it's partly a governmental decision, but it's also a nursing, medical doctor, business, community, individual decision to protect each other, to make sure it doesn't spread. And we should all be doing everything we can to protect people there, protect people here. And I think the nurses are absolutely right.
Yeah, we've got to arm the nurses with not only information, but obviously the correct equipment. Brian, thank you.